NWA Upstate. It was called, originally it was Rochester Pro Wrestling, and it's gone through a bunch of different names, but it's Upstate Pro Wrestling now, and it's the same group that it's been for a long, long time, run by a guy named Hellcat. He's the one who owns and operates the school. He's the one who has been promoting these shows for a better part of 15 years now.
Yeah, and let me just say, if you met Hellcat, you wouldn't think that he's been around long enough to, just looking at him, you wouldn't think he'd been around long enough to be running this for so long.
And he would love to hear you say that.
A.K.A. the man Father Time forgot about.
Yeah, I wish I was in that kind of shape 20 years ago, much less right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he's approaching 50 and looks significantly younger than me.
Okay, you said that. I didn't, so.
Yeah,
he'll get over it.
Here.
Yeah, you would never think. But
No.
So Upstate Pro Wrestling, they run shows every second Saturday. Every other month is at Pineapple Jack's on the second Saturday, and the other one is at the Eagles Club. Like we have one coming up March 11th at the Eagles Club on Buffalo Road.
I heard a rumor that there may be someone in this room in a championship match.
Yeah, that's me.
At that event.
Actually, at that March 11th event, it is me against Jason one-on-one. So I'm just throwing that one out there to the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to watch.
I love going to, like, a lot of people think the only professional wrestling you can go see is WWE.
Right.
And sometimes people think of TNA or whatever. But there's a lot of great local wrestling that you can go see, and it's inexpensive, and it's so much fun.
Wasn't there just something that was
Brockport?
There's a different organization that runs out of Brockport, yes.
Yeah, there's a lot around. Basically, wherever you live, there is local wrestling.
There's guys that wrestle with you in Upstate who also wrestle when we went to the show, the IWP show the other day. So, I mean,
sure,
yeah, there's lots of opportunities.
Guys
Mark
work
House,
hard. They talk great. It's really entertaining stuff.
It's a very physical form of theater. So it's a performance right in front of your eyes. It's crazy to see live.
So we saw Sean Carr was involved in a fatal 4-way at the match the other night, and I guess he's a local guy who's going to get a chance with Ring of Honor. So that's That's great. But what other names are out there that maybe you see with your experience you see on the rise that maybe have a chance to make it?
Because I saw Luke Harper when he was Brody Lee here in Rochester at the German House and Auditorium Theater.
Sure.
Great stuff.
I met Brody Lee when I was like 12 years old, backyard wrestling in a park.
John will love to hear that.
So I know. So that's how long I've known that dude. But I mean, local wrestlers, there's so many great ones actually from right here in the local area, and there has been for a long time. Dick Justice is a guy who's making his name a lot of places and getting he's got a lot of buzz behind him around the independent scene. Nick Ando is another guy who I trained probably closer to a decade ago, who has had some success locally and otherwise, trying to branch out, get a little more name recognition. I don't know, man. There really is so much great talent coming out of the upstate New York area that either is or isn't getting recognized.
And the great thing, and I've discussed this with the guys on the Pain Clinic every week, and we discussed it on our wrestling podcast, is with the WWE and doing their brand split, and then having NXT and having to fill spots there, and Ring of Honor trying to compete, TNA still trying to compete. It's just offered more and more opportunities for guys to make it, and it's great to see that people are working so hard, and local guys. I'm really looking forward to the next few weeks as they build up to WrestleMania, because I really believe that Luke Harper is going to be in a 3-way match for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania.
That would be
awesome.
And
that would be a guy with a Rochester connection going for the championship. He may not win it, but just to be in that match at the biggest event of the year for the WWE would definitely be awesome.
I was going to say Rochester connection. I mean, he's born and raised Rochester, New York.
Luke
Harper.
Back, he came back when he got moved up from NXT, came back, bought a place out in Webster. And his family still lives up here.
Yeah. So that would be very, very cool. It's super exciting for him, but he's always been great. And
he's the nicest guy you'd ever meet.
I know, right?
He's huge. He's taller than you, Chris.
That's something.
Yeah,
I'm not.
He's a really, really big guy.
Guys.
And he does come across a little scary with that beard, but he is the nicest guy you'd ever meet.
Yeah, you should try to get over the Canadian border with him.
Oh,
Yeah, it was never easy.
I believe it.
But at the end of the day, one time they were not going to let us in, and he just said, "Yes, you are," and we got in. So, I mean.
But I get the impression that that's basically the bulk of the guys who are out there are all they're good fellas. They're just doing their thing. Some of them portray these absolute dickheads when they're out in the open. But behind the scenes, they're all hey, how you doing? How's it going? Hey, man, how you?
Sure,
So,
yeah.
Now, do you find that there's any of them out?
10.
I was going to say
there's some prima donnas.
There's a couple of them that start believing their own press.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for that sometimes. I mean, some guys have had great success off of believing their own hype.
There you go.
I mean, it's not me. But then again, once again, it's them, their actual personality turned up to 100.
Right.
And I guess their actual personality is kind of, yeah.
Well, Bill Cosby had a great routine. He was doing this whole thing about one of his employees talking about cocaine. Well, it enhances your personality. Well, what if you're an asshole? Yeah. Then it enhances your personality that much more. Okay, fine. But here's a question I have for you.
12%.
Well, I got 12% of a plan.
You only have 12% of the plan.
I never have more than 12% of a plan. Here's a question I have for you, Colin. Did you have that moment where you've been training and you've been working and you've been studying, you've been talking to people, making all these connections, and do you have that moment where it's like, holy crap, I'm really in the middle of this. This is something that just happened to me, and I am now in the mix.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there was a moment where I was in the middle of the... Because I didn't get nervous, really. I didn't. It just never crossed my mind. Going to the ring, no matter if I was in front of 100 people at the Eagles Club or tens of thousands of people at the Staples Center, it was like, well, I'm going out there to wrestle.
Right.
This is what I know how to do.
Yeah.
But there was one moment where I was wrestling for the ECW Championship, and the ref is patting me down, and they go to commercial break, so I get to stand in the ring, and I'm just standing there waiting. And I just look around and I take a deep breath, and the ref looks at me and he goes, "Breathe, kid, breathe." And I was like, "Oh man, I just got caught by it for a second. I just got
Is
just
that
got
back
caught."
when? Is that back when ECW was on the Sci-Fi network?
Yep.
Was
ECW.
it live?
It was
then?
live on the Sci-Fi network. So also, I had some of the events were taped. Like the SmackDown was always taped on Tuesday, and then it used to air on
Thursday
or Friday. Now it's live, but ECW was live TV. So whatever I was doing was going out there live to the world. I mean,
yeah. And that's one of those moments where you kind of take a breath and think for a second.
Yeah, I'm standing in this giant arena full of people on live television, going out to millions, and it was like, oh wait, yeah, that is a bit much.
Now, when you were with ECW, that was the WWE sort of rebooted ECW.
The WWECW, yeah.
Now, were you worried going into that? Because ECW before then was that just insane organization out of Philadelphia, the biggest independent promotion ever, where guys basically killed each other. People that always thought wrestling would say wrestling's fake. How could you watch it? You'd show them ECW just to put them in their place, sort of. Did you worry I'm really going to get hurt being part of ECW?
No. I mean, once again, it was WWE's version, and their version was, I guess, a bit more watered down than the actual ECW. But I did get to work with a lot of those guys. They paired me up with Tommy Dreamer when I was there, and he was the godfather of ECW. He was the guy.
The
in
hardcore
ECW.
legend.
Yeah, I mean, I had to wrestle him, and I had to do Extreme Rules matches with that guy, and it was just. But he's a pro through and through. So I mean, anything he does.
All right. So I want to mention that with Jerry Lawler only coming in on Sunday.
Yeah.
We have a spot open Saturday all day, which would be great to bring in, even if it's just guys throughout the day with local ties, want to come, sit down, chat with people. If they got some merch and want to sell it, I mean, I'd love to throw that out there to you guys.
Sure.
Come on down, promote themselves. I mean, you go to any of these shows, all the guys, when they're not in the back, are sitting at their table selling their shirts and stuff, trying to make a living off it a little bit.
Yeah, because we are independent wrestlers, we're independent contractors, so I mean, that's the merchandise and stuff like that, T-shirts and 8x10s and buttons and hats and whatever they got is a lot of how these guys make their living.
Yeah, so as we get into the details about who we're going to have come in and wrestle, I'd like to make sure we open that
Absolutely.
up because
Yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
we obviously have the opportunity. I've got the space. It's already set aside for a wrestler on Sunday. Why not use it for some of your local guys?
Sure, that would
On
be
Saturday.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I only charge $150 an hour. So
Okay.
however you guys want to work that out.
Yeah, we can work that.
And that's just to look at him. If you want to take a picture of him,
Yeah,
woo.
yeah. I know. We had that when he started working on joining the board. You know, he was laying out his terms. It's been very lucrative so
He's
far.
got a writer.
For
I don't,
him.
and luckily, I mean, I don't
him.
see any brown M&Ms, so you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he hasn't been too extreme. Although, you know, the all pink Cadillac, I think we're still working on that. Yeah,
that's up in the air
Yeah,
still.
it's still up in the air.
Now having the bottle of Wild Irish Rose here makes sense.
It does, doesn't it?
It's in the rider.
It really does. It's in the
I
rider.
get it.
We're going to come together.
So that's a beautiful thing. You see, and I go on this tangent often. It always impresses me how Rochester has its fingers in everything. You know, Eastman Kodak, Bausch and Lumber, all the big ones, and all that stuff. But you know, when you talk about like Joe Simon, the creator of Captain America, it was raised in Rochester.
Sure,
buried in Rochester, I believe. You know, and Rochester's ties to independent film and comic books and art.
My uncle Mark Macaluso put out the very first Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan card set. I mean,
Yep.
it's so.
And to know that there's even more to the Rochester culture, and you guys help bring that to life, and that's just it's amazing. Every chance I get to hear stuff like this, I love it. I
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
Gorilla Monsoon was from Rochester.
right.
Yes, he
New
was.
York.
Yeah, I remember
So,
hearing
mean,
that.
There's all kinds of crazy ties. When you really break it down, it's like from Rochester. It's like, oh man, for being I don't know, it's our town, but
It is.
It's got a lot more recognition than I think even most of us know or most people know. Mm-hmm.
And
that's history.
That's yet another reason why we do what we do is to bring that home. So that's cool. So we can wrap it up on that note. We're looking very much forward to bringing this all to you and more, as always. So on behalf of everybody here, Billy, Tanya, Brian, Jason, Colin, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
that
of
was
course.
awesome.
Thank you for having
You're
me.
always welcome to be here and hang out with us. That's me. I'm Chris, and we'll see you later. And this has been Monkey Business, a production of Mighty Monkey Productions, presenters of the Flower City Comic Con 2017 at the Rochester Riverside Convention Center. Find us May 20th and 21st at the Convention Center, and like us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/FC3ROC.
This is Benny Hill.
This
Yes,
is
it
Benny
is.
Hill.
This is Benny Hill.
I knew it. It's a family show.
It is a family
It
show.
is, but this is like the.
It's an older family, but a family show nonetheless.
We had other music. Chris didn't like it.
I
so-
really never got into it. You're gonna have to play it. You'll have to play that one next time, Billy.
Okay, I
Just
will.
so everybody can hear it again.